As we enter the 2024 November election in California, even though it's a blue state, California Republicans can win 10 important fights in this election. Coming up, I'll tell you about those 10 fights, what they mean to you, and how you can join to make sure we win in California in 2024. I'm Carl DeMaio, chairman of Reform California, and California is a deep blue state. Democrats greatly outnumber Republicans, and let's just be blunt about it. It's not like the California Republican Party could find its ass with a search party and a map. They are inept, incompetent, and they do not fight effectively. Frankly, they don't even have a willingness to fight. The whole incumbent lot of them needs to be voted out, thrown out of the party offices. And we need to get some real fighters on our side. But that being said, there is a movement underway to take back California. And there are 10 key fights that we can actually prevail on in the 2024 election. And while all of our candidates are worthy of support, and all of our candidates are going to be infinitely better than the liberal, far-left, extremist Democrat on the ballot, we have to focus our energies on the priority target races. Put all of our energy into those 10 areas, and we can actually move the needle. If we spread ourselves too thin, not much is going to happen. Because remember, we're outgunned and outmatched in California, so the limited resources we have to be targeted, focused strategically on the winnable races. So I'm going to walk through 10 of the best opportunities for Republicans to win in 2024 in California. And I'm going to invite you to be part of these campaigns. Do whatever you can. One way that you can be part is to help us at Reform California. Check out our website, reformcalifornia.org, chip in a contribution, because Reform California is actively engaged and leading the fight in each of these 10 areas. Secondly, stay in touch with the news, particularly in these last few weeks of the November 2024 election. Best way to do that is every day at 5 o'clock, we post a new episode giving everyone an update on what's going on. All you have to do is subscribe to this channel. 84% of you are not subscribed. So subscribe to this channel and smash that notification button. So let's go on with our topic today, the 10 most winnable fights for Republicans in California. First, let's start out with the ballot measures. These may not be seats, but they are hugely consequential for your safety, for your prosperity. I would encourage you to look at our voter guide at electionguidecalifornia.org, electionguidecalifornia.org. We cover a plain English voter guide for all Californians because, you know, the politicians lie on the ballot with deceptive titles. And so I'm going to walk through several fights that are on our top 10 list that are ballot measure fights. So check out the Reform California voter guide at electionguidecalifornia.org. Click under the statewide guide, and let's start out with number one. The most important race for us to focus on and win, and we can win in 2024, is defeating Proposition 5. Proposition 5 is a very misleading ballot measure statewide that would gut Prop 13 and make it easier to raise your taxes. It lowers the threshold from 2/3 to just 55% for approving ad valorem taxes, property taxes, throughout the state of California. And so this is crucial that we defeat Prop 5 if we want to protect Prop 13 and make it harder for politicians to raise your taxes. If Prop 5 passes, guaranteed your taxes are going to go up because it just makes it so much easier for politicians to raise taxes. So we have to win the no vote on Prop 5. And right now it is tight as a tick, but we can do this. And that would send a really big message that Californians are sick and tired of the constant assault on Prop 13 and the constant effort to raise our taxes. So Prop 5 is the number one list, the first race, the number one race of the top 10 that we can win. The second initiative is also a statewide ballot measure, Prop 36. Prop 36 we want to vote yes on. Prop 36 is make crime illegal again in California. It would undo a lot of the damage that Prop 47 caused from the 2014 election. Prop 47 basically took away tools from police and prosecutors to arrest and punish criminals. Prop 36 reverses that. It restores those tools to police and prosecutors. Right now, criminals can steal up to $950 per person, per store, per day, which is insane, without any sort of threat of prosecution. Plus, Prop 36 will also enhance the ability to go after fentanyl drug dealers. And you know that fentanyl is a crisis, public health crisis. It is the fastest growing cause of death for overdoses. And drug overdoses from fentanyl are the leading cause of death. You ready for this? For kids 18 and younger. It's just insane. Not gun violence, it's fentanyl overdoses. So Prop 36 is much needed, and we can win this. The polling shows that voters want to vote yes on Prop 36, but of course we're up against the coddle criminal lobby on the far left, and we have to fight hard. So yes on Prop 36 is the second race that we can win. The third race that we can win, also our ballot measures, are Props 2 and 4. Oh, I know. You're saying, well, Carl, those are two fights, right? Yes, but they're related, and our campaign against both of these measures is kind of like a unified campaign of vote no on the bonds. No bonds for boondoggles is what I call it. So vote no on Prop 2, which is a $10 billion school bond, and vote no on Prop 4, which is a $10 billion water, fire, and climate change bond. By the way, if both of these propositions pass, Prop 2 and 4, it will max out the state's credit card. So our debt limit will be completely reached. We will not be able to borrow any more money. And so we're maxing out the credit card for what? Boondoggle projects for special interests? Remember, we are in a fiscal crisis. We cannot afford more wasteful spending. And we have to really be thinking about how we pare back the wasteful spending in government. Prop 2 and 4 are just going to put that wasteful spending on steroids. So vote no on Prop 2 and 4. And again, we cover all of these initiatives online at electionguidecalifornia.org, the plain English version. All of these ballot titles that we are up against are all false and misleading. And so our plain English voter guide is all designed to give people the plain English, easy to understand description, which means that when they know what they're voting on, they vote with us. So this is so important. Our number one tool to fight and win these ballot measure fights is really going to be the plain English voter guide. So I want you to use it. I want you to spread the word, share it with all your friends and family. And also, again, chip in a contribution so we can mail, text, and run ads on the voter guide to voters when they get their ballots in a few weeks. So Props 2 and 4 are the third most winnable race for us in California to stop the constant spending and the borrowing of state politicians. Another ballot measure is the fourth fight we can win, and that's Proposition 33. And I'm not just saying, oh, we can win it on chance. No, we've beat this same measure twice, 2018 and 2022, or actually it was 2020 and 2022. It's anyway. In the past several elections, Prop 33 has been on the ballot twice before. So this is the third time it's been on the ballot. It was defeated twice before, so that's why I think we can defeat it again. It's rent control. Now, I know a lot of people say, oh, rents are high. We need to cap it, not let the increase go higher than a certain percentage every year. I guarantee you rent control is an absolute economic failure. It will lead to higher housing costs. Every time it's been tried, it leads to a much higher rate of rent and housing costs in the areas or the regions that it's been tried. Plus, it really infringes upon private property rights. It's unfair, and it stifles investment. So when you cap the increase in rent, what it does is it basically forces out any investment in apartment homes in a market, because people who want to invest in apartment homes don't want to take the risk that maybe their costs outstrip their income. And that's what rent control does. Rent control does not control for variables like a massive spike in property insurance, which is what we're seeing right now. We're seeing property insurance for apartment buildings go up by 300, 400, 500%. Massive increases. Well, if you have rent control, there's no way for the landlord to keep pace with that. Water, electricity, because sometimes electricity, particularly in common areas, the landlord has to pay for those things. All those items are getting more expensive in California, but none of that is reflected in the ability to increase rents. Plus, rent control has been shown to only help a few people who are able to get lucky enough to get an apartment early, and they squat on it. And a lot of times people get an apartment with 3 bedrooms, their kids grow older and move out, and they're squatting on a 3-bedroom apartment because it's cheaper to stay than move into a 1-bedroom apartment. So you're taking housing capacity out of the market. And then finally, as I mentioned, with less investment means less units means less supply, boom, supply demand, prices go up. So rent control has always failed and led to much higher prices. We need to vote it down, and we can win Prop 33. So those are the first 4 battles that we can win, and those are statewide propositions: Prop 5, Prop 36, Props 2 and 4, and Prop 33. And that plain English voter guide is key. On your local ballot, the 5th most winnable fight for us statewide are all the local tax increases. There are over 250 local tax increases, sales tax, property tax increases statewide. And the local politicians are doing what the state politicians have done. They're lying to voters on the ballot. They're not telling the truth. They're not even revealing, in many cases, that it's a tax increase that voters are voting on. We can win the fights against tax increases. Inflation is at a record high. Voters are not in the mood to give more money to government. They can't afford it. But the lies on the ballot titles are the big obstacle for us to prevail. Again, our plain English voter guide, published locally, will help. If you go onto our website, electionguidecalifornia.org, or just go to reformcalifornia.org and click under election guide, you'll find that we have regional guides, not just our statewide guide, but regional guides that expose the local tax hikes on your ballot. And again, the plain English voter guide is our most important weapon to fight these local tax hikes. So I believe that the 5th most winnable race for Republicans statewide are voting down the local tax increases. And again, that sends a beautiful message that voters are sick and tired of being fleeced by politicians from both parties trying to get into our wallets. We can win the local tax hike fights. Coming in at number 6, let's talk about defending the House majority. There are 5 defense seats that Republicans currently hold that we have to win and retain in 2024 if we're going to have any chance of holding on to the House majority. Let me show you the map here. Here are the congressional seats. And the first seat that we have to hold is this one right here. It's along the northern, it's on the eastern border with Nevada. It stretches all the way down the state. It's Kevin Kiley's seat. It used to be Devin Nunes's seat, but the Democrats made it very hard to win. And so as a result, we need to be really focused on retaining this seat, the 3rd district with Kevin Kiley. Another seat that is going to be tough to retain, but we can, let me zoom in here, is this seat right here. It's the John Duarte seat. It's in Central Valley. It's the 13th district. Let me get my map adjusted here. It's this seat right here in the middle of the Central Valley, the southern portion of Modesto. John Duarte won the seat by only about 500 votes in 2022. We have to retain that seat. The next seat that we have to be worried about is the Garcia seat, and that is in Santa Clarita. It's this seat right here. Mike Garcia, it's the 27th district. It's in that northern tip of Los Angeles. Then zooming in on the Orange County area. Let's go here to Michelle Steele's seat. It's this one right here. Fountain Valley, Westminster. Michelle Steele is in this target seat in Orange County. We have to retain that. Then over here in Riverside, there is this Riverside seat right here. It's the Ken Calvert seat, the 41th district. It goes from Corona, includes Menifee, and then goes all the way out to Palm Springs and Palm Desert. That's a target seat that we have to defend. So those are the seats: Duarte, Steele, Calvert, Garcia, and Kiley. 5 seats that we have to win, and we can win. That is the 6th winnable set of seats that we've got to go after. The 7th is a pickup seat for Congress. It's right here in Huntington Beach, Irvine. It's Scott Baugh. He is the number one opportunity for us to flip another congressional seat and add a Republican into Congress, which is key for us to add, not subtract, not just break even. I really encourage you to chip in a contribution to Scott Baugh. He's a great guy. He's done a lot for the Reform California movement. And check out his website, baughforcongress.com. Chip in a contribution, whatever you can do. But we got to get him across the finish line and flip a seat in California, which a lot of political operatives are not prepared for. We've been flipping seats, adding to the House majority from California. In fact, California was the reason why the Republicans won their House majority in 2022. And we're going to probably be the reason why they retain it in 2024. Moving on to the Assembly. So we got Prop 5, Prop 36, Props 2 and 4. We've got Prop 33. We got the local tax hikes coming in 5. Number 6 is the defense seats for Congress. Number 7 is Scott Baugh. Number 8 and 9 are 2 Assembly seats that we want to pick up. One Assembly seat is right here in San Diego County. It's the 76th Assembly District with my good friend, Christy Bruce Lane. So it's this seat right here in Escondido, San Marcos, Rancho Penasquitos. Democrats won it only by about a couple thousand votes in the last election. Christy Bruce Lane can flip this seat. And then over here, the 36th seat, which is Imperial Valley and southern portion of Riverside, including Indio and the south portion of Coachella Valley. Jeff Gonzalez, a Latino, is running in a Democrat seat. It's the 36th Assembly seat. So those are the 2 seats we can definitely win, the 76th and the 36th in Southern California. And again, it's crucial for us to be able to pick up these seats to start to move back and try to break the supermajority. And then coming in at number 10, the 10th most winnable seat. Let me go through the bidding again. Prop 5 is number 1. Prop 36 is number 2. Props 2 and 4, the bonds, are number 3. Prop 33 is number 4. Coming in at number 5 is the defense seats for Congress. Number 6 is Scott Baugh. Number 5 was the local tax hikes. Number 6 was the defense seats for Congress. Number 7 is Scott Baugh. Number 8 and 9, Christy Bruce Lane in the 76th and Jeff Gonzalez in the 36th. Coming in at number 10, if I may beg your indulgence, is my own fight for state assembly in the 75th Assembly District in the rural parts of San Diego County. The reason why this is the most winnable seat for Republicans, even though it's currently a Republican seat, is the question in this race is really about the future of the Republican Party. And no, it's not about me. It's about our movement. Whether or not we're going to continue to have Sacramento special interests, the Democrats choose who gets to be the Republican in these seats, or whether we're going to let Republican grassroots and independent conservative grassroots voters decide. We won a pretty big landslide in the primary in the 75th district, but the Sacramento politicians, the Rhino Republicans, the consultants on our side that have been grifting against our party for so many years and stealing our money and diverting it and failing with any sort of resource we've given them. On the Republican side, they hate us. On the Democrat side, they fear us and want to destroy us. And so in the 75th district, it is a question of will Republican conservative grassroots win, or whether will the Sacramento swamp win. That's really what we're up against. And so I urge you to join me in my fight to make sure we can flip this seat so I can take all the things that we're doing at Reform California to that next level. We will continue the show from inside the belly of the beast. We will go into the legislature, and every day at 5 o'clock, we will continue this same show, basically giving you an insider's view on what really is going on behind the closed doors, how you're getting screwed, what you need to do to fight back. But it will also allow us to expand our movement on ballot measures and candidates statewide to make us even more of an effective opposition party. So I'm going to need your help in the 75th district. It is absolutely the top 10 most winnable seats for our movement, and I encourage you to join in. Go to the website, reformcalifornia.org, chip in a contribution. If you haven't already done so, please sign up at the bottom of the site so that we can make sure we get you a copy of our Plain English Voter Guide when ballots hit in a few weeks. Until next time, Carl DeMaio, Chairman of Reform California. Help us break through the censorship of the liberal media. Like this video, subscribe to this channel, and smash that notification button so you can stay up to date on all the developments in California news and politics. Also, please visit the website, reformcalifornia.org, for ongoing news coverage and to join one of our campaigns in the fight to take back our state. If you can, please sign up as a volunteer or chip in a contribution. This episode of Reform California with Carl DeMaio, paid for by Carl DeMaio for State Assembly 2024.